What's up, guys? Today we are doing some poetry. Now, I know we've done poetry the past however many weeks we've been in school, but today this is our only activity. I'm being super nice, no quizzes, this is it. So I want you to put some time and effort into this. This assignment comes out at 8 o'clock, and if I have this assignment before 9, I'm gonna know you didn't really try. So, I need you to really try, give me your best effort, and give it all you got. Okay, so for this assignment, you are going to be writing a free verse poem. Now, we did this once before as one of our poetry assignments, but I didn't expect a whole lot out of it. It was towards the beginning of the year, and to be honest, I didn't get a lot out of it. Some of you wrote some pretty good stuff, but I'm hoping that you've grown from that point in time until now. So you're going to be writing a free verse poem. That means it doesn't have to rhyme. It can be any form or any way you want it to look. It doesn't rhyme at all. It should not rhyme. Free verse poems do not rhyme, okay? So I'm going to show you a really good example of a fantastic free verse poem here. So for those of you who have never heard of it, there is a really, really long poem written by the famous poet Walt Whitman, and it's called Leaves of Grass, and it's like 60 pages long. And this is the very final section of the entire poem, and I'm going to read it to you guys because it's absolutely beautiful, and I want you to hear what really good free verse sounds like. And one more thing, let me say this before I read it. It was written in the 1800s, so it's pretty old. Some of the language seems a little bit confusing perhaps, but I'll explain it at the end. The spotted hawk swoops by and accuses me. He complains of my gab and my loitering. I too am not a bit tamed. I too am untranslatable. I sound my barbaric yawp over the roofs of the world. The last scud of day holds back for me. It flings my likeness after the rest and true as any on the shadowed wilds. It coaxes me to the vapor and the dusk. I depart as air. I shake my white locks. At the runaway sun, I effuse my flesh in eddies and drift it in lacy jags. I bequeath myself to the dirt to grow from the grass I love. If you want me again, look for me under your boot soles. You will hardly know who I am or what I mean, but I shall be good health to you nevertheless, and filter and fiber your blood. Failing to fetch me at first, keep encouraged. Missing me one place, search another. I stop somewhere, waiting for you. Wow, okay, so I don't know about you guys, but that's a pretty awesome piece of poetry. Now, granted, some of the language is a bit older. It was written in 1891. So some of you may be like, I don't know what that means. Poetry's not always supposed to be obvious. So when you're writing your poem, think about metaphors and similes. Think about ways that you can get your point across without actually saying exactly what you want. So if we look at this section of Leaves of Grass, let's look at this second stanza, because in poems, paragraphs are called stanzas. So it says, I too am not a bit tamed. I too am untranslatable. I sound my barbaric yawp over the roofs of the world. Alright, so let's think about what these words mean. It says, I too am not a bit tamed. Well, to be tame means kind of docile. It means like you behave by the rules, you do what you're supposed to. So he's saying he's not tamed. I too am untranslatable. When something can't be translated, it means you can't understand what it means. So he's comparing himself, or he's describing himself in ways that you don't always hear, but it still makes sense. I am untranslatable. That's just a way of saying you can't really figure me out. I don't follow the rules. I don't do what I'm supposed to. I sound my barbaric yawp over the roofs of the world. A barbaric yawp, he means just kind of like a yell. This, primal sound over the roofs of the world, making his sound known. So, while it may be a little bit more complicated language than we usually use, Walt Whitman still manages to write a beautiful piece of poetry. And so when you guys are writing your poetry, I want you to do what he does. I want you to think about different ways that you can describe the topic without exactly expressing what you're feeling. If you want to talk about how you're sad, don't just be like, I'm sad. How does sadness feel? So that leads me to our topic. This poem needs to be about an emotion or a feeling. So maybe you'll pick the emotion sadness or disappointment or fear or happiness or confusion or anxiety or anxious or frustration. Maybe you're just gonna pick a feeling, like a specific feeling you get when you wake up on Christmas morning, or the feeling you get when you're sad and your pet comes and loves on you. Maybe you're gonna explain the feeling of when you think maybe that your friend is mad at you, and I want you to make me feel something, guys. That's what poetry is. It's making the reader feel something. So pick an emotion. Don't straight up say what it is. I wouldn't even maybe put it in the title. You need to have a minimum of 8 lines, okay? 8 lines. If you have 7, I will send it back. Lines are sentences. When you write poetry, just like you saw Walt Whitman's there, a sentence can be 2 words. It could be 5 words. It could be, all the way to the end and then goes on to the next sentence. In poetry, you can structure it however you want, okay? So, think about it. Take your time. Write a poem about a feeling or an emotion and make me feel that, okay? That's your assignment for today.